We're at Bellingham's Bakerview Nursery with Dave Egbert, the coastal gardener. You can see Dave Tuesday mornings at 6:30 a.m. and on Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m. on KVOS. Today, we are talking about plant layering. Explain.
Well, sometimes people think that when they have one bush in their yard that they're plunking it down underneath their window and it's going to be one flat mass. But a lot of people have smaller gardens nowadays and they want to add more plant material to their garden, but they need to rethink the way they use plants. The way I like to use the example is use plants just like you would use furniture in your house. Now, in your furniture in your house, you have a rug on the floor, and then you have a footstool or some throw pillows, then you have a table, then you have something on top of the table, then you have an armoire, then you have a picture on the wall, and then you have the wall itself. If you think of that same way of using plants, that you start at the ground plane and you kind of layer them up one on top of another, then you can get a much richer looking garden in a smaller space. And I kind of put a little example together with these low ferns. You see these low painted ferns?
Right.
They would be kind of like my carpet on the floor. And then I kind of slowly raise up and add more plants, kind of stacking them one on top of another. And instead of having each plant having to take up a specified space, like 3 feet, you kind of tuck the plants so they kind of ever so gently overlap one another as they go up. So the ferns are overlapped by the holly is ever so slightly overlapped by the snowberry, that's overlapped by the hydrangea, and that's overlapped by the top plant, which is the plant that's in the background, the wall of your living room.
You have to be careful a little bit, though, that you don't want some plants to overpower others.
Exactly. You do have to watch out for that. But a lot of plants are not the big thugs that we think about them. Think of rhododendrons. You see a lot of rhododendrons all over town. And the problem is it's all bare underneath because those rhododendrons get big and there's that empty space. Why not use that empty space with plants that are compatible? And that's the key. Find plants that like the same situation and they'll all coexist nicely together. So with rhododendrons, you would probably put things like ferns, or you could put some of these wonderful little ericas and heathers, which like the same sort of acidic conditions that the rhododendrons like. And then you could add something else that gives you a little winter interest, like the snowberry. So it's about using plants that are compatible with each other. You wouldn't mix and match like antique furniture with modern furniture.
Very true.
Have things
Very
that would
true.
be compatible.
And I imagine the key, like other, when you're gardening, maintenance to keep its attractive appearance.
Right. You know what? But the neat thing is when you fully pack a bed with plants, you're actually reducing maintenance because you're not leaving empty areas for weeds to get started, because weeds are advantageous. They look at an empty garden bed, they go, oh goody, we're moving in. But if you have that garden bed full of some rich, healthy, well-grown plants, you're going to have less weed problems and a lot of times less pest problems too, because you're creating a plant community, not just a monoculture of one thing.
Real quick, what are some of your favorite plants for layering?
Oh, well, some of my favorite plants for layering are things for the shade, such as this Japanese painted fern. That's why I brought it, because not only does it work perfectly under other shrubs, but it gives a spark of color that lasts all year long. So these leaves are going to be interesting all through the winter, too.
Dave Egbert, the coastal gardener, thanks for being a guest on Northwest Notebook. And we would like to thank Tony Clark out here at Bakerview Nursery for supplying the plants. We'll be right back.